There were only 3 reporters allowed to go to the Kansas City Chiefs practice yesterday, and one of those joins us now, Nate Taylor, the Chiefs beat writer for The Athletic. Nate, thanks for joining us. What can you supply as far as an update on, let's start with Patrick Mahomes, on what you saw and what you expect the next couple of days?
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for having me on. It was a pretty normal day considering that Patrick Mahomes is in the concussion protocol, but there's real strong optimism within the organization that Mahomes will be cleared either today or tomorrow out of the concussion protocol, which will allow him to start in Sunday's game against the Buffalo Bills. I watched Patrick Mahomes for the early portion of practice, still threw the ball with a lot of pace, a lot of accuracy. He was working on his footwork. I know fans have some questions about the left big toe injury that he had against the Cleveland Browns, but he looked to move pretty well from my vantage point. It'll just be a matter of how much can he increase his speed and his, obviously, acceleration if he needs to scramble out of the pocket if he does play on Sunday. But all signs are pointing to him getting the chance to lead the Chiefs to another Super Bowl at Arrowhead Stadium.
I just don't know if Mahomes, from what I'm told, didn't have a concussion, but once you're placed into concussion protocol, Nate, you still have to go through it?
Correct. And the easiest way to explain this to fans is, he did not answer all the questions when he was in the blue tent or when he was in the locker room correctly, which allowed, a neurologist to basically say that, he's having issues. So let's put him in the protocol, even if we don't fully diagnose him with the concussion. Now, Andy Reid, on a couple of occasions, Dan, has not said full on that Patrick Mahomes had a concussion. Maybe we'll learn that sort of after the fact or after the season's over. But once you're in the protocol, you have to go through every step. That means obviously balance testing. He has to be seen by both the Chiefs medical staff and an independent neurologist. Both of those parties have to clear him. And he's gone through a rigorous amount of test work because after every practice, every workout, you're sort of given instructions on how you were mentally from your baseline back in the preseason. Again, all these things look to be taking care of themselves in an orderly fashion. And for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes should be on the field if he doesn't have any concussion-like symptoms that sort of come back to him as a setback.
What about Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's availability?
I think he's going to play, Dan. I think he's practiced the last 2 days. He is expected to practice today at practice. Look, he would have been a 50-50 sort of chance last week, and I think Andy Reid and the medical staff made the right choices to sort of tell the rookie, hey, let's wait and see if we can get to the AFC Championship game. He had his best game of the season against the Buffalo Bills, 161 rushing yards. I'm not sure if he's going to give that level of production on Sunday, but he is another weapon, particularly as a receiver too, in that Andy Reid screen game. So I think the Chiefs will have both of their star players in the backfield. It's just a matter of how many touches will Clyde Edwards-Hilaire get and how effective can we see from him early on in the game.
What do I take away from the Eric Bieniemy situation about getting a head coaching position? Because I thought he would have his choice here, Nate. Now we're down to one, and it's still open. What do you is your sense that Bieniemy gets this job?
I'm not sure. That's still kind of up in the air. I feel like the Houston Texans have not really floated anything much at all about where they're looking in terms of a head coaching vacancy. But overall, in the big picture of the league, it's an embarrassment that Eric Bieniemy is somehow overqualified or not qualified enough, or does he call the plays? But, he's under Andy Reid. How much, true, credit goes to him for the development of Patrick Mahomes? So in the Chiefs organization, what I've heard a lot was last year it was a lot of anger, a lot of frustration as to why Eric Bieniemy was not given one of these head coaching jobs. And sort of they were able to sort of use that as partly some motivation for him when they went out and won the Super Bowl, where they felt like, okay, now he can go into these interviews the next year and sort of say, hey, I've done everything that could be asked of me as an offensive coordinator. I've helped Patrick Mahomes. I've won us a Super Bowl. Guys like Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill credit him a ton for their own development and their professionalism since they came into the league. So everybody knows he's a true leader. This year, it's utter confusion and just disappointment for the fact that Eric Bieniemy is a candidate that should be taken with serious consideration. It is kind of appalling that NFL owners have not seen the same things that you and I see, Dan. And, a couple weeks ago, Andy Reid, when it was starting to get to that Week 17 news cycle of, hey, how's your guy going to do this year? What do you want from him? Where do you think he could go? Andy Reid was pretty blunt in putting it on the owners. It's an owner's issue. It is an owner situation. And even Clark Hunt can't get some owners in the league, his own peers, to call him to see why Eric Bieniemy is the right choice to be a head coach. I think about the example last year where Jerry Jones and Clark Hunt did not talk, and therefore Eric Bieniemy was not given an interview request from the Dallas Cowboys. Now they went their own direction with Mike McCarthy, and we'll see where that goes. But that sort of explains the issue at whole. Not even a respected owner in the league like Clark Hunt can sort of sway or sort of give advice to other owners in the league about why Eric Bieniemy should be a viable option to lead a football team.
I'll leave you with this, though, Nate. Andy Reid's 62. Has he talked about a time frame of how long he coaches? And is there a chance that, and I don't know why Andy would step down, given what he has, but with Eric Bieniemy, is there a chance that, hey, you may not get this job, you're the coach in waiting here?
If something were to happen, and that would take quite a bit, because I agree, Dan, then Eric Bieniemy, I think, would be the coach in line to follow Andy Reid. The problem is, when Patrick Mahomes signed his 10-year extension, he got pretty much clearance from Andy Reid that I ain't going anywhere, man. Like, I'm going to be your coach for the foreseeable future, right? Andy Reid basically told me back in the summer he might do this until he's 70, which kind of takes you through most of the contract extension with Patrick Mahomes that will last through 2032. So as long as Andy Reid has good health, as long as he's still on the cutting edge of innovation in terms of offensive play calling and play design, and obviously he has the talent around him from the front office, I don't see how Andy Reid leaves within the next 5 years. And he can honestly push this to 70 because he sees the success that Bill Belichick has had. And a lot of people need to realize that both of these guys are of a certain age and they're still really, really successful given all the younger coaches coming into the league trying to come after them.
Nate, good stuff. Thanks for visiting with us, and have fun this weekend.
Thank you, sir. It should be quite a blast. I hope it's a classic. I hope it's another AFC Championship classic.
He's Nate Taylor. He covers the Chiefs for The Athletic and was one of only three reporters who were able to go to practice.